This is the foldable for section 6.4. 6.4. And what we're doing is still elimination with the multiplication of one of the equations. So it says one equation will need to be multiplied. How do we know? If we don't have the same coefficient in front of the letters, that's how we know we need to multiply. So I'm going to give you two scenarios. I'm going to multiply the first equation by a 4. So that would give me 4x plus 40y is equal to 12. And then the other equation we're just going to rewrite. 4x plus 5y is equal to 5. Your goal is to get the same number coefficient in front of those letters, the variables. Now that you have the same number in front of those coefficients, what you're going to have to do is now decide if you're going to add or subtract. Because they're the same sign, we subtract. We can take it from there, but we won't do it until the inside of this foldable. But you could also try to get rid of the y values. To get rid of the y values, what I'm going to do is multiply that second equation by a 2. I also wanted to show you that you can also multiply by a negative 2. So it could be a 2 or a negative 2. That means that we have to rewrite the equation exactly like we see the top one. So x plus 10y is equal to 3. And then the other one we have to multiply by negative 2. So negative 2 times 4 is a negative 8x. Negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10y. And then the the constant is negative 2 times 5, which gives me negative 10. And again, we're looking for the same coefficient in front of the variable, but now these two signs are different. So we have to add. Let's go ahead and finish the problem. If you'll fold it inside. On this section, the leading coefficients will not be the same. So you have to make them the same. What most students do is to choose to eliminate the x, but you don't have to. I'm going to go ahead and set it up like we're going to eliminate the x and multiply it by 4. The first equation multiplied by 4. It gave me 4x plus 40y is equal to 12. And then that second equation, we just rewrite it. We have the same sign in front of the 4's, so we have to subtract. That gives me 40 minus 5, which is 35y. The other one is 12 minus 5, which gives me 7. I'm going to divide both sides by 35 because that's the one with the variable. Y is equal to 0.2. Once you have your y value, you use that first equation. That's what I'm going to do, but it really doesn't matter whether you use the first or second equation. You're going to have x plus 10, but instead of writing the y value, we're going to substitute in the value of y, which was 0.2. And that equals 3. Now we got to multiply x plus, what is 10 times 0.2? 2. That is equal to 3. And then we subtract 2 to both sides, just like we were doing last time. X is equal to 1. And your order pair is 1 because the x goes first. And then comma 0.2 for your y value. Take a look at this example. The difference of 3 times a number x. So we have this 3 times a number x, which we could write 3x. Don't forget it was different, so we have to subtract y. Is equal, so we have an equal sign, -4. The next equation says 2 times a number x, 2 times the number x. So I have 2x plus 2 times the number y, which is 2y. And that is equal to 72. Once you have the system of equations written, now we're starting to look at the number in front of it and see if we can eliminate it. Those are not the same, so we cannot, and neither are these two. I'm going to choose to eliminate the y this time, so I'm going to multiply by a 2. I want to remind you that it is possible to multiply by a negative 2. 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times a negative y is a negative 2y. And then 2 times negative 4 is a negative 8. Then we rewrite the second equation. And we're looking for the coefficients to be the same. That's not the same, but these are. They're different signs, so we have to add them together. That gives you 6 plus 2 is 8x. Negative 8 plus a 72. 64. Thank you. 64. Now we're going to divide by 8. X is equal to 8. Remember, once you have that x value, now you got to look for that y value. I always plug it into the first equation, but it really doesn't matter which one you plug it into. So 3x minus, oops, I have the value of x, so I have to substitute the value of x. 3 times x, which x is 8, minus y is equal to negative 4. 3 times 8 is 24 minus y is equal to negative 4. Subtract 24 from both sides. Negative y is equal to negative 28. Then we're going to divide by negative 1. Y is equal to a positive 28, giving me the order pair 8, 28. The next scenario gives you when you have both equations need to be multiplied. What I want you to notice is that 2 and 3 are not multiples of each other. Neither are 5 and 2. And these two really don't matter. What I recommend that you do is always eliminate the x's. You're going to multiply by 2 on the top equation and by 3 in the bottom equation. Why? Well, all we do is take that coefficient and flip. 2 is now on the top, 3 is now on the bottom. So this is the way that I recommend that you do it, always eliminating the x. 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4y. And 2 times negative 7 is a negative 14. Three times 2 is 6x. 3 times negative 5 is a negative 15y. And then 3 times 10 is 30. Now we have to decide. Are we going to add or subtract? Look at the coefficient, same sign, subtract. We're going to solve it in the back, but then let me just show you that you can eliminate the y's. I don't recommend this method, but you are welcome to do it if it seems easier for you. So on the first equation, we're going to multiply by 5. And the second equation, we're going to multiply by 2. Don't forget, you can multiply by a negative number. 5 times 3 gives you 15x. 5 times negative 2 gives you a negative 10y. 5 times negative 7 gives you a negative 35. On that second equation, 2 times 2 gives you a 4x. 2 times -5 gives you negative 10y. And that equals negative 20. What you're looking for is that the coefficients are the same. And if they're the same sign, we subtract. I just wanted to show you that it is possible to eliminate the y, but it's not very common that students do that. Let's take a look inside. We're going to go ahead and multiply that top equation by 2 and the bottom equation by 3. And all I did was take the number in front of the x and switch them. We did this in the front, so that gives me 6x minus 4y is equal to negative 14. And this one is 6x minus 15y is equal to 30. Don't forget, what you're looking for is the same coefficient, and if they're the same sign, we subtract. So we have 4y minus a negative 15y gives you, what was that? 11y. And then negative 14 minus a 30 gives you negative 44. We're going to divide by 11. Y is equal to negative 4. From here, we still have to find the value of x. I always use the first equation. So I have 3x minus 2. And instead of my y value, I'm going to substitute in negative 4. And that equals negative 7. 3x plus 8 is equal to negative 7. Subtract 8 from both sides to get rid of that. 3x is equal to negative 15. Divide by 3. X is equal to negative 5. And that means that your ordered pair is negative 5, negative 4. Then on the last one, we have Nathan sells 5 cupcakes. So 5 cupcakes and 6 lollipops. And I'm going to make a capital letter L so it doesn't look like a number 1. For $10.75. The next equation is 3 cupcakes and 4 lollipops for $6.75. Okay, so these two are not the same. These two are not the same. The easiest one to do is to see the first letter. So we're going to multiply this one by 3. And then this bottom one by 5. That is the easiest one for students to see, that you just do the reverse on the coefficients. 3 times 5 is 15. C plus, then 3 times 6 is 18L. And that's equal to 3 times 10, 75. 32.75? 25. Thank you. Then we have 5 times 3, which gives you 15C. 5 times 4, which gives you a positive 20L. And then 5 times 6.75 gives you 33.75. You're looking at the number in front to see if they're the same. And if they're the same sign, we subtract. That means that we have 18 minus 20, that gives you negative 2L, is equal to 32.25 minus 33.75, which gives you negative 1.5. Now what are we going to do? Divide by -2. L is equal to, it should be a positive 75 because that's 75 cents. That is one lollipop. Now we need to know how much a cupcake is. So we're going to take the first equation, 5c plus 6, and substitute in the value of L, which is 0.75 or 75 cents. And that equals 10.75. 5c plus, and then 6 times 75 is 4.5. Is equal to 10.75. Subtract 4.5 from both sides. 5c is equal to 6.25. Then we divide both sides by 5. C is equal to $1.25. If you're going to write an order pair, the letters matter. It's in alphabetical order. You say 1.25 for the cupcakes, then the 75 cents for the lollipops.